Welcome to Batman Arkham Asylum, a game developed by Rocksteady Studios where you take the role of Man, an ordinary person who is ridden by a radioactive dollar and gained the power of $203 billion. Travel through Arkham Asylum, stopping the Jonkler from taking over the city with steroid-enhanced inmates.
This is gonna be one of those episodes, isn't it?
Hi, I'm Lunar, and today, I'm looking for a challenge. That's why I'm going to beat Batman Arkham Asylum with no upgrades. But first, let's go over the rules. Number 1, I cannot obtain any upgrade that requires me to go out of my way to acquire it. This includes purchasing on skill tree or crafting in-game. Number 2, any upgrades that are unlocked by story progression are fair game for me to use. Number 3, subscribe. If you want to subscribe for me, how about this cute puppy? That's enough for now, let's get to the challenge. We begin this game with a bat signal in the night sky, as I am taking my old friend Jonkler the Clown to Arkham Asylum. With the state of the world today and everyone hating clowns, he turned to using steroids to get the girl. We walk up to Joe Biden and check in, strapping Jonkler down to a gurney and meeting Officer Bowles. Outside the CM office, we enter the walking simulator. As we are going downstairs, the elevator loses power and things get a little kinky. But we have to put things on hold as security says visitor hours are over and I have to go home. So they take Jonkler off his ride and into the facility, where as soon as I cannot reach him, he breaks free, emotes on us, and dips, as someone on the inside has full security access. Jokes aside, why did they take him off that gurney? I get that it had to happen for the story to progress, but in universe, why didn't they just leave him attached to it forever? Could have saved a lot of lives. Watching him run in, I do what any rational person would do. Jump out the window. Now standing, surrounded by big, strong men, I start kicking their butt using the birth of free flow attacks. The game teaches me the basic controls, mainly attacking and countering, but I don't have time for counter, so I just punch everyone in the face before making my way deeper into the asylum to find Jonkler. I run up to a group of guards who ask for my assistance, and Zaza over here has taken one of their friends hostage until he gets his fix. So I jump on some gargoyles that are inside a building, mind you, and take him out from behind before Nurse Joy shows up on screen. Smash. And she reveals that she is the one who has access to the entire facility, as well as that she kidnapped Joe Biden. But she gives him a lap dance, so he starts begging me not to save him. Being jealous that I am not in the chair though, I decide to save him. I head deeper into the asylum, saving some employees from green smoke and knocking out an inmate before finding Jonkler. He tells me he made a new friend and wants us to meet. Oh crap.
That's a big bitch.
It's at this moment that I realize that Jonkler snuck some steroids into the facility by sticking them up his butt. Luckily for this fight, all I have to do is avoid dying for a certain amount of time. I just throw batarangs at him for fun before he takes a big whiff of my suit and die. I don't smell that bad, do I? Oh god. I quickly flew back home to the manor and gave Alfred my suit to wash as I relaxed for the rest of the night. Returning the next night, only to discover that no one had gotten things under control, and now Jonkler has a 24-hour advantage. During that time, he freed all the inmates, spread some steroids around, and had Officer Bowles kidnap Jimmy Fallon. I made my way to the scene of the crime, discovering that Officer Bowles had dropped his flask, spilling his Mountain Dew, and giving me a trail straight to him. The trail leads me to an elevator shaft, and Nurse Joy blows up the counterweight, dropping the elevator on me and a signal guard. After that experience, we discover the true villain of this game. How did this chair get here? Why is there just a lone chair in this room? I climb up the elevator shaft, still questioning the existence of Chairface Chippendale, and taking out a few inmates before coming across
Officer Bowles' trail stops here.
A nice present that Jonkler left for me. Looks like I don't have to worry about Officer Bowles anymore. I continued on my way, heading outside, getting a breath of fresh air and a nice relaxing spot to hang out and watch the party before being so rudely interrupted by a few inmates smashing my car. So I proceed to give them a closer look by smashing their heads on the tires. I then scan the area for a trail to find Jimmy Fallon and find some sticker butts on the ground, so I followed the trail to find him. The trail leads me to the medical building, heavily secured by 6 men without guns. So I introduce their faces to the bottom of my boot before heading inside and finding Nurse Joy abusing Pokemon. She's behind an electrical gate, however, so I have to gain access via roof. I get lost in the vents a bit before coming across a Predator section. Predator sections of Arkham games are quite simple. They consist of a room filled with criminals with guns, and various vantage points scattered around the room for you to use. The goal is to take them out without being spotted, which is typically done by using stealth takedowns. However, I got a little cocky and got too loud. My first death wasn't to a Titan, nor Bone, not even to Nurse Joy. It was to an inmate with a gun. As well as death number 2. But that's not the point. Typically, I'd be using the inverted takedown to get a few thugs down, but in Arkham Asylum, the inverted takedown is a skill upgrade, so I won't have access to it, leaving me to only have silent takedowns and corner takedowns. After taking out all the inmates, I talk to the doctors and they give me a quest to save their colleagues. As we were talking, some inmates come up the elevator, which allows me to use it to escape, but first I decided to teach them a little lesson, and I got shot again. Luckily, I got them all down, so I take the elevator down and someone fills it with strange gas form of LSD.
You know, I forgot something, or Lou needs to go back to the asylum.
I head towards the morgue, coming across a group of doctors under the influence and the shadows of a man running away. I watched Jimmy Fallon get taken away and earn a new role in Logan Paul's next video in Japan before entering the morgue. I have a quick meeting with my parents before Crow shows up and takes me on a weird acid trip. To beat him, I have to turn on the lights and he goes back down into his gamer dungeon waiting for his next time to strike. I make my way to another room where I find Jimmy Fallon being held captive by Nurse Joy and surrounded by a ton of inmates with guns. So I sneak around being sure not to get caught. Which is fun because you can actually cheese this fight only needing to take out one inmate. You can sneak behind these 2 guards and head down to the lower level. Then wait for this guy here to turn around and then you can make a beeline straight for Nurse Joy. After freeing Jimmy Fallon, he tells me that Jongleur has something hard hidden in the lab area where we discover Bone, all shown up and drained of all his venom. Jongleur fills Bone back up, getting him nice and ready for showtime. After getting his health bars down, I jump on his back and rip out some venom tubes, but if I don't reach him in time, he will regain his health. I died twice to Bone before dropping the ceiling on him and making my escape. Turns out he survived though, and he has to borrow my car to head into town for some groceries. So I agree. I then tell Jimmy Fallon our collab is over and send him home. As I head into the man cave, I get some exposition from my daughter-in-law and grab the claw, which allows me to pull objects and enemies towards me. Typically you don't want to pull enemies closer, but when they're on a ledge, you sure as hell do. I make my way to the mansion, getting shot by some snipers on the way, twice, before taking them out and securing my way to the mansion via roof. Once inside, I take out a few inmates as I search the manor for Dr. Yun. See, she has the only remaining copy of the notes Jongleur needs in order to complete his super steroids, which means that she has become a target of man. Unfortunately, he has inmates searching the entire manor for them. That's bad. So I tear up the entire manor looking for this document and break the bones of Jongleur's men, saved a few guards, and discover that Johnny Cash is being held captive. So off to a predator encounter where the inmates are wearing some fancy chokers that alert the rest of them whenever I take one out, which leads to me getting caught and being shot. Twice. Before finally taking out all the inmates and freeing Johnny Cash. I continue on my way to Dr. Yun's office, finding nothing at all, but it seems she managed to get the notes and hid them, so I tracked her fingerprints and found the formula hidden in a single book in the library. She had a good idea here, but I went for a more permanent solution. After burning the documents, Jongleur decides to have a meeting between him, Zaza, and the doctor, so I have to find her and save her. But first I get drugged by Crow and have some PTSD flashbacks of my parents leaving to get the milk. I then find myself in another side-scroller where I have to avoid Crow's eye, and I got caught. As I was saying, I have to avoid Crow's eyesight, which is a little harder this time as he does not spin around like a ballerina. Also, I have to fight some normal skeletons, which all go down in just 3 hits. After all that, I manage to shine some light on the situation and scare Crow away. I awaken the clock tower, where I drop a 1,500-pound bell before finding Zaza holding the doctor hostage. So I throw a batarang at him and she starts beating on him. I confront her about Bone and she plays the innocent accomplice role. She goes to grab the security goods from Joe Biden's safe, but surprise, Jongleur has it. I then get a great view of Nurse Joy before she breaks the cane over Joe Biden's head. She then emotes on me and dips. I tell my daughter-in-law about the doctor and she gives me some advice on how to get past the security, so I start tracking Joe Biden by following a trail of blood on the floor. Before I can leave the manor, however, I had to do one last predator encounter with 3 guys in the main hall. Seems easy, right? Wrong. There are very few spaces to hide on the floor level, and each guy is looking at the other 2, leading to me being seen whenever I try to take out one person. But it gets better, because after getting them all to look in the same direction, I sneak behind them and go for a silent takedown, and this happens. Okay. How the hell did this guy hear me? It is called a silent takedown because it creates no noise. Not to mention the person on the right didn't hear me since he never turned around to shoot. It was only the guy on the left. Did he hear the sound of the body hitting the floor? But that sound always plays, and is never heard in any other stealth encounter. After that confusing death, I took out everyone in the room and made my way to the main cell block where I had another death right out in front. Luckily, on round 2, after I disarmed the guy holding the taser, no one picked it up, allowing me to secure victory and gain access to the main cell block. This area is filled with lunatics, but they're all mostly locked up. For now. I walk through and come across this tree hugger.
Smash!
She begs me for help, but when I reject her, she begins crying. I then head deeper in, finding Joe Biden tied up and watch on camera as Nurse Joy frees the tree hugger. Oh, and Jongleur frees all the lunatics. I free Joe Biden and rob him of his keys before dipping out. As I leave, Nurse Joy shows up and challenges me to a game. She heads up to the second floor, swinging on a chandelier as I take out some of her men. After taking them all out, she does some acrobatics and runs away, leaving me locked in a room. But I follow behind and complete some of her challenges before coming face to face for a boss fight. Except for this fight, I am taking on more of her men, although she will electrify the floor, which shocks me and her own men, so we all make a break for it whenever we hear the alarm. During this fight, they managed to get me down only once. I then got them all on my second try and Nurse Joy started flipping at me, so I grabbed her and threw her against the railing before grabbing the party list from her pocket. Yeah. That's why I reached there. I then steal her identity and throw her in a cell ready to find Jongleur in the gardens. So I make my way over, taking out some lunatics on my way. I enter the gardens to take out a few inmates before coming across Jongleur. He is absolutely shocked at my determination, but not as shocked as this guard. So I turn off the power and head deeper into the garden, finding a few guards being kept in bird cages.
They must be related to Osborn.
So I went on a stealth mission to save them all, starting off with the inmate at the watchtower, and okay, I failed. Luckily, I didn't die. Only they did. So this isn't added to the Hey. Hey. No. No. Okay, fine. We'll count it. Luckily, on my second try, I got all the inmates and saved the day. Now, accessing the lab, I discovered that Jongleur has perfected his super steroids without the doctor's notes for help. He injects 2 of his brutes with the super steroids, turning them both into titans. And I had to fight both of them at once. I focused on the one that charged so that I wasn't attacking the one that was down and being charged at the same time. During this fight, as well as many others with titans, whenever I knocked one down, I was able to jump on the back and ride it around like a rhino, dealing damage to all the enemies around. Unfortunately, it takes me a while to realize that if I remove all the health and don't go in for the finishing blow, the other titan will wake its friend up. Luckily, I managed to win this fight on my first attempt, only losing a little over half my health. I tell my daughter-in-law what happened and we come up with a plan. After all that, I ordered a supply drop, receiving a clothesline. This allows me to move over any 2 horizontal points without touching the floor. Using my new toy, I look for the tree hugger and ask her for a cure for super steroids. She refuses to help, so I take a more physical approach. She tells me the best place to find the cure is in King K. Rool's cell. I tell her to go to her cell and leave, hoping that she'll listen. But as it turns out, Jongleur got to her and gave her some super steroids, making her plans grow stronger. But I don't have time for this right now, so I head out and make my way back to Johnny Cash to ask him how I can get to the cell. He tells me that the elevator we saw King K. Rool come up in at the start of the game leads down into his cell. What a coincidence! On my way, I come across a group of inmates dressed as security, so I start beating them all up to get the raincoats back, and I died here. Mainly because I went into this fight with my health already at the halfway mark, so I just gotta make sure I don't do that again, right? Easier said than done. I searched one of the tree hugger's plants outside the door and it hit me right before I went in. You see, these plants can be destroyed and you can use the batarang to break the projectiles. But the game doesn't tell you this. And this is my first time playing it, so I died again. By this point, I became an expert at avoiding nature and entered the fight with full health bar, only to then get hit 3 times almost instantly, draining my health to half. Hey, I survived this time. I arrive outside in intensive treatment, but the entire building is on lockdown with a sniper on the roof. So I just gotta sneak over to a watchtower and glide over to him. I don't want to talk about it. Damn it. For this encounter, I cannot use the gargoyles since they will explode whenever I get too close to them. Luckily, there is some smoke on the bottom floor that I can use to hide in. Whenever the game decides that the inmates can't see in the smoke, I got shot so many times that I went from man to Swiss cheese. Finally, on my 5th attempt, I managed to take everyone out and left this hellhole for... My game disc broke, so I bought another copy off Wish and booted it up. But this game seems a little different. I am now in the seat of the insane person as all the criminals take me to the asylum and insult me before Jongleur puts a bullet in my head. But this doesn't count towards the counter because I live. Now in the mindscape with Crow again, I enter another side-scroller. I fight some more skeletons, get caught by Crow, and fight a Skeleton before turning the lights on once again. He is very upset and doses me yet again, but this time it doesn't affect me nearly as much. He then emotes on me and dips, taking the elevator in the direction I need to go. So I open the door and follow him down, and I find him holding the bag over the water. But King K. Rool catches wind of this and decides to maul Crow, tearing his face to shreds, but we don't get to see that for a while. I enter the cell and set a trap ready to go on a serious stealth mission. If I fail, I get eaten by an 850-pound crocodile.
Oh, that's a big bitch.
Seriously, I go through the rest of this mission with my batarang always drawn. This mission took me 12 minutes, not because I kept dying, but because I had to find 5 spore sacks while also avoiding an overweight reptile who hunkers for man's booty cheeks. After I get 4 sacks, King K. Rool opens a gate for me and starts breaking the boards from under my feet in an attempt to drown me, being chased down at the last minute only to turn the tides and remove the floor from under King K. Rool's feet. I then make my way out of the sewers and back to the man cave to make up the antidote to super steroids, just in time too, as the tree hugger started growing her plants all over the island. Man does some crafting, completely out of my control mind you, and he creates the Mega Claw. Just in time to pull some boxes down and escape the man cave. I start making my way over to the tree hugger, but Jongleur calls me to inform me that he is pouring super steroids into the water supply. Why does the water supply for all of Gotham go through an insane asylum filled with people who use deadly toxins? I don't know. I listened to a few inmates make your mom jokes before breaking down the wall and pulling them all down. Entering the pump control room. There are 3 water pumps I have to shut down, so I head over to the one on the right first, finding myself in a predator encounter that I immediately messed up and got shot in. On my second attempt, I entered a vent like one sussy baka and took out the inmates from inside. But I disable the water pump and I head over to the other side of the pump house. I cleared the room and shut down the pumps, finally making my way to see the tree hugger. But Jongleur logs me in and sends him knock knock. Who's there? This room is extremely confined. One big guy, a ton of small guys, and man in the middle of this meeting. Luckily, when I get the chance to jump on the Titan, I can knock the inmates into the electrical fence. But I take them out and finally escape the pump room, returning to the tree hugger in her gardens. She lures me in with her long root, but when I enter the room, she isn't there. So I go to cure her plant when she shows up and decides to show me this cool flower she made.
Oh, that's a big bitch.
This boss fight is pretty simple when you know what to do. The goal is to dodge her spores and vines while throwing batarangs at her when the pod in the middle is open. But you can also just throw batarangs at her when the pod is closed, doing a little damage. Now I did die here once before pouring my hair gel on her plant, causing it to blow up and damaging the pod. But she isn't your grandma's boss and summoned some people under mind control to fight me too. This face is exactly like the first one though, but now there's more simps.
Ladies, gentlemen, one at a time. We can have fun on both sides, you know.
Well, you should attack the Sims to keep them from killing you. You don't actually have to. They'll just be taken out by the vines if they're in that area and be dealt with that way. I stay focused on the tree hugger's attacks, using quick fire battering whenever I can before pouring more hair joy on her plant and sending her into the abyss. I survived! With exactly 1 HP left to my name. The greenhouse starts to collapse around me due to the plant smashing everything, so I do what any rational person would do. Jump out the window. As I escape, Jongleur invites me to the party, so I head over, getting a standing ovation for being the guest of honor. So I give a wonderful speech, and everyone wishes me luck on my next adventure as I enter the party. I come face to face with Jongleur, who blows up a wall, leaving me on the ground with severe hearing damage. I enter the room that he ran to, and he gives me a huge speech. Huh? I can't hear you. You kind of blew up a wall right in front of me. I think he wants me to fight the 2 Titans he has since he freed them. We enter yet another Titan fight with 2, so I treat this one the same way as I did the ones in the lab. Except now there are a ton of inmates here too, so I gotta deal with them as well. And I died here. A lot. I died so many times, I was yelling at the cutscene for playing. On my final attempt, I would use the Titans to fight for me whenever I could, allowing me to take out a ton of inmates. I had a slither of health remaining, but thanks to some skilled button mashing, and the game taking pity on me, I managed to get the Titans down, winning this fight. Jongleur gives me a round of applause and reveals he kidnapped Jimmy Fallon and tries to shoot him with the super steroids, but I take the bullet for him and man just refuses to change. Makes sense? So Jongleur does something we would never expect. He does my job for me.
Die!
Now that Jongleur's taken out, I guess that means I get to go home and get a bit... Oh. Now on to a fight that is very controversial in the community. Man versus Titan Jongleur. Except, we don't actually fight Jongleur. We fight his men. As he gets distracted by a helicopter like my nephew. Whenever he looks away, I have to use the Mega Claw and drag him down on the floor to introduce his jawline to my fist. I get taken out only once by some of his men, but the Jongleur boss fight was way too easy for a final boss fight. The two Titans right before this one were way worse. Hell, Bone was way worse than this one, because during those fights, you have to focus on the inmates and the Titan-induced enemy. But this is just a normal combat encounter, with the difference that there's someone throwing toys on the field. I bring him down 3 times, finishing the job by using my hair gel to blow Jongleur's chin, taking him down once and for all. And with the final cutscenes playing, we watch all the inmates return to normal, and everyone is sent back to their cells, as I head home for a well-deserved nap, answering that yes, I can beat Batman Arkham Asylum with no upgrades. Batman Arkham Asylum was an incredible experience and a wonderful start to the Arkham series. The atmosphere does an amazing job of making you feel lost and confused, scared of what might be hiding around the corner to give you the feeling that you are at the mercy of Jongleur. While the boss fights in this game are nowhere as good as later games, you cannot argue that for their first Batman game, Rocksteady did a great job.
I'm going insane on those lunatics on the streets!
Oh, what the fuck? If you want to support us and gain some awesome perks, then make sure you check out my Ko-fi, link in the description below. And while you're down there, why not check out my other social links? Make sure you leave a like and let me know in the comments below what other games you want to see me do a challenge run on. This is Lunar Shadows, signing out.
Why is man so spoiled and rich? Is there a lore reason why we don't call him Brat Man? Who do you prefer, the Riddler or the racist? Why did man let his parents